So with Algorand, so what did you see when you was like, let me start to build a long-term position in Algorand? What stood out to you versus some of the other blockchains and cryptos out there?
Yeah, I think with a lot of the other blockchains, what I noticed was a lot of hype, like a lot of marketing. This is going to be the next big thing, or and even influencers that they had promoting it, like celebrities and all those things back in 2020 when the whole thing was booming. And I never liked that because I mean I can smell a pump and dump from far away. I've been in the stock market long enough. I've seen penny stocks. They have the similar vibe where the founders are always talking nicely about their thing, which they should. But then when I
Yeah.
started researching into it, I realized that a lot of them don't actually have any use cases except for like JPEG images, NFTs, or just basic stuff. Sure, they might have a bigger headway as it relates to NFTs and all that compared to Algorand, but I'm like, okay, what's actually going to be used, right? Because for me, I'm not investing in it as a currency. Right, Algorand's not a currency in my view. It's a blockchain. It's a technology play. So if it's a technology play, then I want to see, okay, who's actually going to use that underlying technology? So that was the biggest factor, right? And I saw that, okay, Algorand had actual real world use cases as opposed to just NFTs or hype or meme coins. And
Yep.
then the other thing I looked into was, quantum security, right? What's going to be future proof for quantum security? And then more importantly, if we're talking real world use cases, then the biggest things any blockchain needs to have is, finality, settlement, fast transactions, and low cost. And just recently, I tried using the folks finance XNet to try with the other chains, and I was like, oh my god, this just makes me feel even better about my investment. 30 $20 you're spending on like Ethereum or whatever for basic
Oh man.
transactions, and then you're waiting like 10 minutes that it's confirming or whatever, whereas I do it on Algorand, it's instant. So I'm like, if companies are going to evaluate, their CTOs are going to evaluate for their company what's the best blockchain, they're not going to feel comfortable recommending Solana, Ethereum, or all the other ones, and they're going to feel more comfortable selecting Algorand. So those are some of the reasons. And I did like an online program. I think it was the Wharton Business School Economics of Blockchain program I did with them. And then literally all of the professors there, all of the academic staff was like, Algorand's the one that's created in a way that they could actually be used. So I was
Mm.
very interested how Wharton's whole program was based around like how Algorand's going to be the next one being utilized. So that just added more to my conviction in that play. So yeah, and I think as a trader also, as an investor, you look at risk reward opportunities. You look at what's got the most upside potential with the most least downside potential. So when Algorand recently was like 10 cents, 11 cents, I'm like, okay, the low downside potential is like 11 cents, right? Or 10 cents. But the upside, if it just catches up to the market cap, which it should, in my opinion, to the top five, then we're talking a pretty big return. So as an investment standpoint, that's why it stood out.
That makes sense because when you talk about like for companies that are using it, one of the big ones is TravelX. You probably know about it. They're doing the NF tickets, airline tickets, and again, they would need something that's always online, that is always easy to use and fast, but also behind the scenes where it's not all up in your face in terms of a company. And then the Lofty AI as well, which does the real estate, tokenized real estate. When we spoke to them, he would talk about Jerry was talking about the same thing. He was like, I need a blockchain. He didn't care what the name was and what it was, but a blockchain that works efficiently, instant finality, as you said, security wise, everything was there. So I see big businesses and institutions definitely only looking for those things, and it makes a lot of sense. Algorand is pumping right now, so it is feeling real good. You can see the crypto Twitter is a lot happier. The bear market was really tough. When I first got into crypto too, I found Algorand at like sometime in 2021, early 2021. It was already at a pretty high price, and I remember buying it at 80 cents, a dollar. I was like, this is about to go higher than that. But at that time, there weren't a lot of use cases for it. Just a couple DeFi protocols, and half of them are gone now. Now, at this point, a few years later, Algorand is actually mature, in my opinion. And I think the foundation that is leading the way in terms of adding companies on and giving out grants are doing a great job. They also went through a hard time, but they're doing great now. So shout out to them. There was something you said on Twitter. It was that you had a Ferrari at some point and then you were selling it and then you bought some Algorand. Can you break down your reasoning behind that? And then, what made you just sell a Ferrari?
Yeah, so I mean, I was going to sell it anyway because I live in New York City and we barely get to drive because you find yourself taking
Makes
Ubers
sense.
anyway. because you got to worry about parking and all of that. So I had a car. I drove it for a good, year or so, and then I was traveling. So I was in Thailand, and my car was just sitting there. COVID was still going on at that time. So my dealer called me. They're like, "Hey, no more Ferraris are coming in. So yours actually went up in price. So whatever you bought it for, I'll pay you like $25,000 more than what you paid for it." So for me, I was like, "Well, I'm in Thailand. The car just sitting there, and I'm probably not going to be back for another few months." So I told him, "Just go and pick it up." And at that time, I think Algo was 30 cents or something like that. And I was like, I still like the opportunity here. So I said, you know what? When he gave me the funds, he wired me the funds. I just kind of put it in Algo. I think it was like 533,000 something Algo that it resulted into.
Wow.
So I bought that, and then I've been basically buying more since to get my average cost down, which is about 14, 15 cents now. And yeah, so it's looking great. It was kind of like a bet where I was like, I'm not going to trade in and out, but let me do this so I can, fulfill my FOMO. So I had a friend of mine when Bitcoin was $10. He Skyped me when Bitcoin was $10, like, "Hey man, you should look into this thing. You should buy this thing." And I literally, no joke, sent him 5 lines of ha 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 LOL. Right? This is like many, many years ago. So he sends that to me screenshot every day. So I was like, all right, this is my way. I'm going to redeem myself now. But no, I think just investment standpoint, it made sense. And the car was just like, I could always get it again. Not a big deal. So it was more like an investment that made a lot of sense to me. And I feel comfortable with the team because a lot of the crypto team I'm not comfortable with. Like their personalities, but I don't see that translating down the line when the industry matures. So you need a mature team. And I think with Silvio and the people behind Algorand and the background that they have, connections with academics, right, with academic institutions where CTOs would usually go for them for advice. So I think that where I saw that real world, Algorand would have an easier time onboarding real world use cases because the CTOs are going to they're going to ask academics, "Hey, who do you think what should we use?" And they're going to be suggesting or recommending Algorand. So I think that was for me a way to think about crypto as like I think I talked about it before, early stages of the internet, like where AOL was the first one who started it all, right? MySpace was the one that started it all. Great concept, revolutionary concept. But in the end, there's better, faster technology that comes play. And now we have Facebook and we moved on from the existing one. So I think majority of the cryptocurrency, at least the VCs or the investors, did all of their crypto research prior to 2019. So they still are used to the same old names of Ethereum, Solana, Bitcoin, and they haven't done any new research. And Algorand really only came into the picture 2019, 2020. So a lot of the people haven't done their research, but when they start looking at it now, right, and actually doing their due diligence, they're going to quickly realize that, oh, we've been missed out on this gem.